Hello to my fellow glorious Gaians. Thank you for joining me, Amber, on my channel, Guidance Through Gaia, where I do tarot pick-a-card readings. First of all, I have a few things that I want to say. We have made it to over 700 subscribers on this channel, and that is a monumental feat in my opinion. I just want to thank each and every single one of you who have hit that subscribe button or left comments or shared the video or liked it. It's a really humbling and honoring feeling to have, to see that, especially when you start something from the ground up and you have no idea, like, how it's going to be received. Second of all, I am sorry for the lack of replies to comments and for the long durations between videos. Lately, I know this has been an issue where, like, I've mentioned it a couple of times in the past, but I've been really inconsistent with taking my medication. And one of those medications actually helps to create, like, an energetic boost in my body. And if I'm not taking it regularly, then I just feel really blah. And I don't really have a lot of ambition to do much. So, oh my God, you should see my apartment, guys. Actually, no, you don't want to see my apartment. So, some people can kind of have everything together when they don't have their own personal shit together. I am not yet one of those people. So I got to get my personal shit together so I can have everything else together. But that is all something that I am really committed to working on. And I appreciate everybody who stops on by, whether for one video or for multiple videos. So, moving on, we are actually going to do a reading today. I don't know why I said actually, like it was originally supposed to be something else. I don't know, guys. I don't know. We're going to be doing a reading on all about your missed connection. And so that could be with an ex, that could be with somebody that you're not familiar with. But we are going to be looking at the energy of the connection overall, which is what these cards are going to represent. Then we are going to be using tarot to look at your perspective, their perspective. Why was the connection missed? What's the most likely outcome of the connection, and any advice the universe has for you? Plus, we can get into some cute little charms. So that being said, we have 3 piles here. Pile number 1, we have the Magic Oracle with protection. Pile number 2, we have Lady Goddess with feminine. And pile number 3, we have Hearth and Homecoming. All right, so I will give you guys, well, you take all the time you need, just hit that mouse button, and I will see you at your reading. Bye. Hey, group number 1, you chose I said Magic Oracle, but it's actually Magic Circles. See, like, this is a C-I and not just an O. Plus, there's also no A there. And this card says protection. Now, these cards are going to represent the energy of the connection. And this should be an indicator as to whether or not this pile has a message for you. Because something I've been learning about myself is sometimes I don't trust my intuition, and I may be drawn to something because of the aesthetic, which can sometimes lead me to a pile that I feel very connected to. But sometimes I'm realizing, like, oh, I'm looking with my eyes and not really trying to figure out with my intuition what's right for me. And then sometimes, like, there's a message that I want to hear. And so I see a topic and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to listen to that. But it could be that, sometimes you want something so badly and unfortunately maybe there isn't a fit for it in that situation, which doesn't mean that you can't find answers down the road. But I'm getting off topic. Okay. Anyway, guys. We have card number 37 with Descendant and Invitation. We have card 27, Help from Above. We have the full moon in Capricorn, Take a Reality Check. And then we have the Nurse with Kindness, Loving, Realistic. And I'll read that in just a moment. I think it looks crooked on my screen, but it's like straight on here. I don't know. I can't do straight things. All right, guys. So one thing that really stands out to me about the energy of this connection is that there is a hesitancy. There's a level of guardedness. And I'm not necessarily getting a feeling as to whether or not this is a connection that has previously existed, like an ex-sexual partner or ex-romantic partner, or if this is someone with whom there was an interest, or if this is somebody that you just kind of like met on the fly. So I think it could apply to a variety of situations, but it's almost kind of got that feeling of like wanting something that's bad for you and like having to really keep yourself dignified and disciplined and not pursuing it. It's like, you know, your heart, your hormones are really pulled towards one direction, and then your head and your gut are trying to rein them in and going like, no, pile number one. Like, no, this is a road we don't want to go down. And I think it's really interesting that most of these cards have the same theme. So we have help from above and protection. I mean, I would consider help from above, it could either be help in the form of assistance or help in the form of protection. Then we have take a reality check, and then the Nurse with kindness, loving, and realistic. And so there's this sense of this common theme of, on one hand, there's this ideal that we have about the situation, about the person, the fantasy, what we want. But then there, on the other page, is the reality. Maybe the reality is that they are with somebody or you are with somebody. And so, although there's this desire, it can't be acted upon. Maybe the reality is remembering that when the two of you were together, there was this toxicity in the relationship, and having to remind yourself of that instead of just focusing on the pleasurable feelings. So I do think that there's a really strong desire to unite, but something is holding you back. Now, when we look at the descendant, so our ascendant sign is how we present ourselves to others. So my ascendant is Libra, and that means that I try to appear to be somebody who is agreeable, likable, balanced, somebody who is attractive to others and enjoyable to be around. Then our descendant is kind of who we invite into our spaces and our relationships to them. So like, who are the people that you are considering your equals? And how are you relating to them? You know, are you keeping them at a distance? Are you kind of putting a barrier over yourself and not allowing yourself to get close to others? Are you maybe relying too much upon other people? Or have you learned how to develop this healthy balance between maintaining your independence, but also kind of integrating with your social circle, you know? So, one thing that the book talks about is making sure that we are seeing people for who they are, not who we want them to be, and accepting them for their authentic selves. And what comes to mind is the book John Green wrote called The Fault. No, it wasn't The Fault in Our Stars. Sorry. It was Paper Towns. And it's a young adult novel, and it's all about this kid, Q, who has this huge crush on I think she was his neighbor, Margot, and then she ends up taking off, running away, and he sets out to find her, and at the end of the day, you realize, like, he thought he knew better than her what she was about and what she wanted, only to find out that, like, he had projected that. And one thing John Green might have said this, and it might be a quote that's actually originated with somebody else, but it's the idea of oftentimes people are more often to us mirrors than they are windows. Usually we are seeing back what we want to see or pieces of ourselves, and we may be neglecting to authentically see the person for who they are. This is in the positive trait, so I would definitely say that this is an indication that you and or this person are in a healthier mind frame than maybe you have been in the past, starting to recognize, like, there was one quote that I really liked. It's like, you can fall in love with someone's potential, but you have to live with their reality. Or maybe understanding that, like, circumstances won't allow for this, or that, you have to have a healthy balance of, like, emotion and passion and practicality. So I think that there's been a development of growth here. With this full moon in Capricorn, take a reality check. There were a couple of things that several things that I thought were interesting with this. One thing that it talked about was that there's no use in worrying about the situation, because worrying isn't going to change it. Full moons are all about reflection and about being able to take note of what we accomplished and how far we've come. And sometimes we set a goal that maybe we don't reach completely, but that doesn't mean we can't celebrate the progress we have made. This card also talks about how this really stood out to me. Great, now I can't completely remember what it was saying. Okay, it says the full moon in Capricorn takes place when the sun is in Cancer and the moon is in Capricorn. So both Cancer and Capricorn have a certain level of, I would say, practicality to them. Like, Cancers can be very nurturing, but they can also be very guarded. They may be somebody who wants to appear stronger than what they feel, somebody who wants to hide their vulnerabilities. And then Capricorns, they, I think, look at life from a pretty practical standpoint. What is stability? How can they achieve that? Capricorn, to me, is a very authoritative position in a chart. And so to have, like, a water and earth, there's this sense of creativity and spirituality and emotion, but also the sense of, like, groundedness and stability. And then it does offer, if you want to work with any deities, or if you feel like maybe researching these deities would benefit you in some way, it does say that you should call in Parvati, the goddess of divine strength and power, and her son Ganesha, the Hindu elephant god who protects us. You need strength to get through this time, so ask Parvati and Ganesha to guide you to the best possible outcome. And finally, we're going to look at this nurse card. So this comes from, this whole deck is themed after Romeo and Juliet. And the nurse says, "Thou wilt fall backward when thou hast more wit. Wilt thou not, Jewel?" Act 1, Scene 3. And I believe what's happening there is, so they want Juliet to marry Paris, but she doesn't want to. She wants to marry Romeo. And at first the way she's talking to the nurse and describing Romeo can make it seem like she is expressing disdain for him. But I think she eventually, in that moment, expresses her love for Romeo. And the nurse is explaining to her, like, you know, you're going to look back on this and you're going to be relieved, like, that you didn't follow through with it. You're going to question yourself, like, you know, how could I have ever thought that was the right option? Why would I have ever thought that Romeo would have been a good fit for me? Like, I can't believe what I was thinking. It's kind of like hindsight is 2020. And so the nurse has really good intentions, and she's just informing Juliet, like, you know, what seems good right now will not seem appealing in the future. And, like, you are really going to see clearly when you get older how misguided you were in this moment. So, sorry, that was a lot. And you know, this card right here makes me think of Aquarius and Temperance. And that's all about moderation, you know. So we'll set the protection card right here. So first we're going to look at your perspective, and if this doesn't seem like your perspective, I would, you know, but the energy felt like the energy of your situation, I would definitely wait until we describe the other perspective, because that might relate more. Okay. I don't know. I wanted to do my romance deck, but I felt really called to use the Phantom Wise Tarot. So, okay, so we're just going to describe your perspective of the connection. Wow. This is the Four of Pentacles, guys. If there was ever a card about holding back, this is one of them. Okay. Your perspective of the connection. Oh my goodness. Okay. The This is a lot. Well, you know what? I'm going to take it. We have the Empress in reverse. We have the High Priestess in reverse. We have the Ace of Wands in reverse. And then we have the Two of Wands in reverse. Okay, so right off the bat, there is this sense of like, full stop, no, we're not doing this. This is not going to happen. And this could be because the two of you have a history together. This could be because of circumstances. You know, like maybe you don't feel comfortable putting yourself out there to this person, especially like if you don't know them. Or maybe one or both of you are in connections. It could be for a variety of reasons. But the Four of Pentacles is all about withholding. It's holding back your resources. It's maintaining a certain level of security, which I feel like really does go with the theme of the energetic cards, you know, about protection and help from above and, you know, being realistic. So the Four of Pentacles, it is a protection card. It's like, I have what I have, and I'm not in a position to share it. The Empress is usually somebody who is very nurturing, you know. She's going to share her resources. She is going to do what she can to make people feel good about themselves and about life. In reverse, though, she is holding herself back. You know, this is a woman who is dignified and feels either that it's not appropriate to nurture this connection, or that it would not behoove her to nurture this connection. Now, with the High Priestess in reverse, this makes me feel as if there's a certain level of disillusionment that you went through. The High Priestess upright is somebody who's like, you know, mystical and mysterious, and she has like this higher knowledge. But in reverse, it's like seeing through the fog. You know, all of a sudden, there's no mystery anymore. You know, what looked like magic, you're finding out was parlor tricks. You know, puppets on strings and cards up sleeves and that sort of stuff. Once again, could be for any number of reasons. Maybe you didn't know this person. Maybe it was wrong time, wrong place. Maybe it was terrible history between the two of you. But with both the Ace of Wands here in reverse and the Two of Wands here in reverse, there's this feeling of like, this just isn't real. Like, there's not a chance here. You know, there is not a way forward to begin this. Like, the Ace of Wands is all about new beginnings, and it's about taking that first initial step. And here we have it in reverse, so it never even gets off the ground. And then the Two of Wands in reverse can talk about like a separation, but it can also talk about the inability or the refusal to make a choice. So it might almost feel like it's kind of out of your hands, but it could also be like there is no choice here because there is only one direction in which this can reasonably go. So now we're going to see what the other person's perspective of this connection is. I gotta say, this is a little bit heavy, you know, especially for those of you who like know this person and maybe you have a torrid past with each other, or maybe it's just like the forbidden love, you know, someone's with someone. Oh my God. We literally have the exact opposite here. The Six of Pentacles. So the both of you are in like a grounded earth energy. But whereas you, now, of course, like, if this doesn't represent you, but the second line does, you know, then just ignore the fact that I'm saying this is you. But, you know, whereas you may feel like, okay, I have to hold back my resources. I can't let this person cross a boundary. This person is saying, like, I want to share. You know, like, I want an equal exchange. I want to offer pile one experiences, and I want to have experiences with them. What is pile one's person's perspective of the connection? The Fool in reverse. But there is also this sense of the inability to begin something new. Could be because there's too much history between the two of you. Could be, you know, it's not the place to do it. We have the Five of Wands. We have the Queen of Wands. And we have the Page of Swords in reverse. I think this succession of cards is really telling about the situation, pile one. If you know this person, like, if this is an ex, they may be somebody who has tried to reach out to you in the past to fix things, or maybe, like, you guys, like, followed each other on Instagram and they would, like, come into your DMs, or, like, they would like your posts, you know, or watch your stories on Snapchat. Like, just kind of, if this is somebody that you've been with before, whether sexually or romantically, this could be somebody who has tried to maintain a position in your life and just kind of maintain a presence. And that may have caused some issues in the past. If this is somebody that you know, but never took it to the next step with, like maybe this is a colleague or a friend, they maybe have felt like it has been a challenge with their feelings for you. It could be that maybe the challenge is within themselves. They might be battling with themselves about how to handle their feelings. It's interesting, though, that we do have the Queen of Wands here. And so if we look at these two cards together, it could indicate that maybe there have been arguments between the two of you where maybe it was arguments about progression, like progressing forward, or maybe just like arguments that have really not had much to do with being together, but have made a substantial impact on your connection. This could also indicate feeling as if maybe you just kind of have that presence of resistance. You know, like sometimes you look at someone and you're like, you know, I want to try it, but I don't think it's safe for me to. Like, pile number one is smoking hot. They are gorgeous. They are charismatic. They are creative. They are powerful, because I do feel that this is how they see you. But man, they do not look approachable. I don't think I'd make it out with my life. Regardless of what this Five of Wands indicates, I do think that they see you as somebody who is very creative and in control, in your element, in power. And so with this Page of Swords in reverse, depending on your situation, this could indicate that they see you as blocking the communication, or they are too intimidated, whether by you or by their own feelings. And so they are not in a position to feel comfortable communicating with you. So we're going to try to look now at the reason why it was a missed connection. It does seem here like one person is more willing in some way to initiate contact and to, I feel like that was like a sci-fi thing, initiate contact. Someone a Star Trek fan, or maybe, you know, is someone who is more eager to pursue things than the other person. So that could definitely be part of the reason why. But maybe this resistance is a result of something else, you know? So we might be able to get a look at that. Why was this connection missed? Oh, the Four of Wands in reverse. Well, yeah, duh, that is obviously the missed connections card. There's a sense of like, if you've watched The Nightmare Before Christmas, Sally's song, where she talks about like, oh my god, I used to know this by heart. It feels like tragedy's at hand, although I can't shake this feeling that I have. The worst is just around the bend. And does he notice my feelings for him? I can't remember where in the song it is, but there's a part where she says, it's never meant to be. Oh, well. Okay, the Magician card here with the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords. I think that is so interesting to come out, because when we see two court cards that are in the same suit, a lot of times we think of that as like a perfect match, you guys. You know, like a divine counterpart or somebody who is energetically matching with you. With this Magician card, I do feel, because the Magician is somebody who is a manifester. It's Aries energy. It's very large. No, it's not Aries energy. Shit. What is it? That's the Emperor. I don't remember. I do want to say it's a fire sign, though. I could be wrong. Anyway. It's someone who can, like, transmute their surroundings and their reality. And with the Four of Wands in reverse here, followed by the Magician and the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords, this almost feels like the reason why this connection was missed is because of the both of you putting on masks and not being authentic. Because the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords are both people who are very practical. I mean, look at these faces. Like, these faces don't give anything away, except this dude kind of makes me feel like he's Amish. I don't know. It's that beard. But they're the ones who are going to have really good poker faces, you know, and they are going to be calculative about what they say, how they say it, every move they make. And so, well, I do want to, I'm going to get a clarifier for the Magician, just for the hell of it. The Emperor in reverse. Interesting that I was just talking about the Emperor. The Emperor in reverse is somebody who isn't going to take action. Wow. Yeah, so somebody who is not going to make the first move. In fact, it could be in such a way that it's really stubborn. Like, I want them to make the first move. I'm not doing it. They better do it. Or I better not show that I miss them or that I'm interested in them. Better not give my heart away. Oh, you guys. So we're going to look at what the most likely outcome of this connection is, which if y'all don't say anything to each other and you want to be with each other, like, it's going to be very difficult to... I don't normally take cards in this position. I have encountered readers who do, but for the first time in my life, I'm going to take it like this because it does make me feel like it's on a balance, guys. You know, the King of Pentacles is somebody who is very solid. Like, he's secure. He's got his shit together. He doesn't have any worries about, you know, his resources, what he can afford, because he's got it all figured out. You know, he's good with his spending. He's got a consistent revenue of income. He prioritizes his needs and wants. So the future of this connection is kind of like hanging in the balance. You know, it could potentially be, I think, very grounded and stable and supportive. Otherwise, in the reverse, it could be baseless. You know, just grains of sand that get easily tossed around. Oh, that was poetic. Where there's no consistency, no stability, no safety. So, what is the universe's advice? And I'm using tarot today for that instead of oracle because I kind of feel like tarot can sometimes be more descriptive about actions you should take. Although, of course, depending upon the oracle card, that can be the same. The Ten of Swords with the Moon. So the moon is all about mystery. It's about uncertainty. And the Ten of Swords is a lot of mental stress. It's someone who's really going through it, you know. But they're someone who knew the dangers of going through it as well. And they accepted the task at hand. So I think that can mean a lot of different things, and I would encourage you to discern what you feel most relates to you. What are you comfortable being uncomfortable about? You know, I think is a good way to describe it. Like, because it's okay to be uncomfortable. We don't grow unless we're uncomfortable. But what kind of discomfort, what level of discomfort are you ready to accept? You know, so it could be as simple as maybe you really need to, with this being the Ten of Swords, we can look at it from a mental energy perspective. Maybe you really need to reflect on your concerns. You know, why are you either so reserved against this person, like so pulled back, and resistant to them, or, you know, why are you intimidated by them? And I think it's very important for you to delve deeply into those questions and continue the work until you begin to start seeing the bigger picture. This could also mean, because because Swords talks about communication, this could also mean expressing yourself, verbalizing and communicating with this person, even though you don't know what the outcome is going to be. What other advice does the universe have for you? What should pile 1 do in regards to this connection? You know, and it doesn't necessarily mean that confronting a person or expressing yourself to them is going to result in the outcome that you desire, but there are other benefits that can come with it. You know, closure, the pride you may feel in expressing yourself. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse. This indicates to me, for one, not trying to force anything. You know, if you communicate yourself to this person, don't try to kind of force their hand. You know, just because you communicate yourself doesn't mean that someone else is necessarily comfortable communicating themselves, and that's a reality we sometimes have to live with. Also, if this person is resistant to the outcome that you desire, by no means should we attempt to coerce them or change their minds. Like, we have to respect their decisions as we would expect them to respect ours. I think this also is talking about, like, mentally, accepting that this may be out of your hands because it involves another person, you know? Like, so you can only do so much. And then the 7 of Pentacles, that talks about patience, which is a word I hate to hear, man, but it's the truth. And that may kind of exacerbate this 10 of Swords, you know, create this certain level of anxiety. The Knight of Swords. I'm going to take it like I did with this King. You know, you may hear from them, you may not. But patience is going to be important. Patience in regards to waiting for a response from them. And patience in finding whatever resolution you want, whether like, or that is coming your way. So if this connection begins to heal, you know, patience with that development. It's not all going to happen at once. If this is a new connection, patience with getting to know each other. Or if this connection doesn't work, then patience in coping with that, in healing, and in finding another connection that will be reciprocal. We do have the 8 of Swords in reverse for the bottom deck energy, and that just really talks about like the stress that you're feeling is real, it's authentic, you know, or rather like the worries that you have. Maybe you feel like, you know, you're not worthy of love, or maybe that you're afraid this person would think you're stupid, or that they don't like you, or whatever. You know, the universe is kind of like, get out of your head, hun. Like, release yourself from that prison. Do not let this control you. So we're going to get a few charms. So we have the Camera here, which makes me think of memories. So if this is a connection that has previously existed in other forms, I do think that there's a mutual like nostalgia there. I think it's also talking about it's okay to reflect on memories, even if you and this person are no longer together or no longer compatible, or maybe not even on good terms anymore. Like, it's okay to appreciate the times that you did share. I think this is also encouragement. Like, there will be future memories to make with or without this person. We have the dragon, so that could be the year of the dragon, which the only year of the dragon I know is 1988, and that's because I went on a date with a guy from Laos, and we were talking about our zodiac signs and our Asian zodiac signs. And it could also mean good luck, maybe even like ferocity, someone with a lot of anger, a lot of rage, or a lot of passion. And then we have this flower here, which makes me think of springtime and summer, but also makes me think of blooming through difficult periods of time. Like, no matter how much the flowers have to endure with the snow or with the rain and the wind, they always bloom. So group number 1, I hope that this was useful for you. If it resonated, please let me know how in the comment section down below. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't joined our family yet but would like to, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be alerted to whenever I upload a new video. If you're interested in a private reading, I am offering those. You can find my contact information in the description box below. Bye. Hello, group 2. You chose the card Lady and Goddess with Feminine, and this is going to be a reading all about your missed connection. So these cards right here are going to be indicative of the energy overall of the connection, and this should allow you some insight as to whether or not this will fit your situation. So let's get into it. We have Lady Goddess with Feminine. We have card number 2 with Have Faith. We have card number 17 with Beauty. We have Full Moon in Sagittarius with See the Bigger Picture. We have Kiss, the Sublimation of Love, Eternal Loyalty, Noble Sacrifice. And then card number 7 with Libra and Balance. So what I get from this situation, first of all, is that this instance, whether there was whether there was an interaction or whether there wasn't an interaction, there wasn't a lot of action. With Lady and Goddess, the feminine, this card talks a lot about giving and not receiving. So this could be a situation where maybe you have previously given yourself to others or to this person and not received much back. This could also talk about, a lot of times when we talk about the feminine versus the masculine is the one that takes the action, that takes charge, masculine energy, excuse me, not necessarily like a male. And the feminine is usually the one that is receiving, the person who doesn't necessarily take action, but has like a lot of compassion and softness and generosity, more passive behaviors. And there may have been a lot of focus on the individual who may be more feminine in the connection. And I do get, especially with this Libra card here and this Lady Goddess, a lot of Libra energy. So it might have been that, especially if this is a connection where you don't know the other person or know them very well, there may have been a focus on physical beauty. It might have been somebody who was like, oh my God, wow, look at that person. They are just gorgeous. Otherwise, one or both of you, even if you did know each other, could have found the other very physically attractive. Like when you haven't seen someone for a while and I guess you think maybe your feelings are kind of gone for them or whatever, and then you see them, whether it's through social media or in passing or you are interacting, and it just like, it's that moment that hits you where you're like, wow, like they look really good. This does also make me think of Aphrodite here, the goddess of love, especially with this rose. We do talk in these two cards here with Libra and balance and full moon in Sagittarius, see the bigger picture about balance. This is all about making sure that we are not acting in extremes, either by maybe too strongly pursuing something or by holding back too often. So I do feel that the energy in this situation involved a lot of trying to compose ourselves, especially if there was this feeling of extreme attraction, really trying to maintain our composure, maybe come off a little more laissez-faire, not somebody who is like super interested or super caught off guard. Maybe if the two of you verbally communicated, maybe one or both of you were really tailoring the way in which you were talking to the other so that there wasn't a big indication of like, wow, I'm really attracted to you, or wow, I really miss you, or wow, I really want to be with you. There may have been travel involved. We do see that with the full moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about learning and travel. So this could be somebody that, you haven't seen for a long time. And for instance, maybe they moved and you ran into them when they came back for a visit, or maybe this is somebody that you don't know and you met when you were traveling. I think it's also worth noting that in this image right here with Beauty, it looks like she has a compass. And it could also feel, like maybe a confusion of what direction to take. We see the snake here, and I'll tell you this, I love snakes. Snakes get a bad rap. My best friend has a ball python who's like, I want to say like 11 years old. And I was holding him one day because I just wanted to pet him. And he was like crawling all over me, and his head was right next to my forearm, and I saw like his mouth open. And even though I know ball pythons are constrictors, I still was like, whoa, Luke, come on, man. Like, don't try to nibble on me. And that's when I found out that snakes yawn. So, but a lot of times when we think of the symbolism of snakes, we can look at them from two different perspectives. One can be transformations. Snakes are constantly shedding skin, and so someone could have gone through a transformation here, particularly a physical one, but it could also be just kind of like an emotional transformation or a lifestyle transformation. This could also represent temptation. Perhaps there's this temptation that you or this person offered to the other, and it was kind of like that compass spinning, like which direction would I want to go in? Because if I go towards this person, it's going to be the opposite way of where I was going to begin with. I do feel that if there was holding back, that it was because the objective was to see the bigger picture here. It can be very hard when we are feeling impulsive or we are feeling particularly focused on something to kind of pull back and see how that plays a role in the bigger picture. Like, if I make this decision, how is that going to impact the rest of my day or my life? Or if I choose to walk away from this, like, what are going to be the implications of that? this is a very cerebral moment. And so I do feel that for a lot of you, there probably was some communication, but overall the energy here is of people really being in their heads. You know, we have this have faith card, and I just, I get this feeling of kind of like, have faith that whatever is meant to be will be. This feeling of whether this was from your perspective or their perspective, I'm not going to try to force anything. If I'm meant to be with this person, the future will allow for that. If not, then I'm going to accept that and let this connection go. With the see the bigger picture, it does talk about Lady Fortuna, who's called the goddess Fortuna, who is also called the goddess Lady Luck. And so this may feel like a situation where things are just kind of left up to chance. You may feel as if you don't necessarily even have the ability to make an impact on what occurred here. And with the see the bigger picture and the Libra balance card, these cards also do talk quite a bit about making sure that we are being fair, that we're not being harsh towards others, that we're taking people into consideration. So whether it was a conscious attempt in this instance, or maybe something that had affected the connection in the past, if the two of you knew each other, or maybe connections that you or this person have had separately in the past, it does seem that there was a focus, maybe there could have been some harsh words. I don't really feel like fighting occurred in this moment. For some of you, I think that maybe there was tension there. And sometimes we can do that intentionally or unintentionally as a way to kind of protect ourselves, without really meaning any malice to others. Now, it's funny that we have these cards about balance, because with this deck is all about Romeo and Juliet. And this card right here says kiss, the sublimation of love, eternal loyalty, and noble sacrifice. And it says, "O churl, drunk all, and left no friendly drop to help me after, I will kiss thy lips." Act 5, Scene 3. So what happens in this act and scene of Romeo and Juliet is Romeo encounters Paris, who Juliet's father wants her to marry Paris, and she doesn't. Paris and Romeo end up dueling, and Paris dies. and it's not funny. I'm thinking back to Bailey Sarian. It's not funny. I'm not laughing because it's funny. It's just ridiculous how many people die in this story over the course of 3 days. Then Romeo goes into, I think it's the cathedral, I don't know, and finds Juliet to be what he thinks is dead. Well, she's just taken basically this sleeping potion to appear to be dead. However, thinking that she truly is dead, I just saw 1212, he drinks poison and kills himself. And so then Juliet wakes up to find him, realizes that, hey, he's actually dead. And so she's talking about how she'll taste the poison upon his lips to kill herself. And then when that doesn't work, spoiler alert, even though, it's been friggin' 300 years, she ends up putting a dagger through her heart. And so this could have honestly felt like a farewell, or the impending sense of a farewell, like this desire to stay there in that moment, or to reunite with that person at a later time, but knowing that this is not going to move forward. or this will be the last time that I see them, or, you know, I'll never get to know them more. And I do think it's interesting here with all the sand. You know, we're in this desert, and we've got this hunter here, and looking straight ahead and behind into all the different sides. You know, you wouldn't anticipate that this hunter would be able to meet his goal of procuring, you know, probably food or whatnot. But he's just like sitting here patiently, you know, knowing that there are things still out in the desert, knowing that it will take time, but something will show that will help him sustain himself. Full moons are also about reflecting on everything that we've accomplished, and things that we may not have accomplished, and seeing the lessons for what they are. So we are going to get into the perspectives of yourself and this person. Now, I am going to refer to them as like your perspective and their perspective, but certainly if it feels like they're flip-flopped, that's totally fine. You know, when we're doing like a general reading, you know, we have to really be flexible with interpretations. Okay. So, we're going to get a look at what your perspective of the connection is. What is group 2's perspective? Okay. We have the 2 of Wands. Oh. We have the Judgment card. And we have the 7 of Wands in reverse. Oh, guys, this is so beautiful. It looks like for the most part, those of you who chose this pile were very receptive to this connection developing further. You know, the 2 of Wands can talk about making a decision, choosing an action, but I also do really look at it as a union card, one that often represents like passion and creativity. And I mean, like, you see this cat, right? It's like just sitting on these tree branches, just kind of looking out, waiting, surveying the situation. We've got the Judgment card here, which is represented in this deck by Anubis with the heart and the feather. And the whole concept of this is, you know, if your heart weighed the same as a feather, that meant that you held no guilt and therefore would, I don't remember if it's like you get reincarnated or you go to a better place in the afterlife or what happened, but it was more favorable than if your heart weighed more than a feather, because even though, I mean, physically that's exactly what would happen, spiritually that meant that you did have guilt in your heart. And Judgment is all about, I mean, balance. You know, what's going to be the right decision to make? What is going to benefit both parties? What's fair to me? What's fair to the other person? And then we have the 7 of Wands in reverse, which can talk about being defensive, and it can talk about defending things, you know. So I do feel that this represents there was more of a passive energy that you displayed, where it was like, you know what, I'm not necessarily going to make a move towards this, even though I would be really excited if this happened. But I'm also not going to resist if anything doesn't happen, you know? I do want to see, like, what was the focus of this Judgment card? Is there anything significant about this Judgment card in relation to Group 2's perspective? Anything? Okay. The Four of Swords in reverse with the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. So it seems that the judgment was the belief that maybe being more proactive in the situation, taking more of the initiative, might create an imbalance. So for those of you who chose pile 2, you might have been worried, like, about coming on too strong, maybe misreading signals, making the the other person uncomfortable. And I can definitely say, like, it's a positive to take those things into consideration. But I think it's also important that sometimes we take chances, you know, and if you feel like there's mutual interest there, you know, like, it's okay to explore that in a respectful way. But I get it. Like, I get not wanting to rock the boat. So what was the perspective of the other person? Like, what was the other person's perspective? The Five of Wands in reverse. Okay. The Five of Wands can talk about a combative energy. So when it's in reverse, that's pretty docile. What was the other person's perspective? We've got the Emperor in reverse and the Magician in reverse. Okay. Yeah, so this is a lot of energy that's kind of resigned to the way things are already. And whereas this is, you know, talking about not defending a position, this is also talking about not fighting for something over here. The Emperor in reverse is somebody who doesn't feel like they have the ability to take control of something. They may not know what direction to go into. They may not know how to present an idea or a situation. They may not feel comfortable being in the spotlight or taking the lead. And the Magician in reverse is somebody who doesn't feel like they have the power to change things around them. They kind of are somebody who feels like life happens to them, and they may not know how to direct things in their favor. I do want to see why the Emperor is in reverse here, if there's anything special about that. Is there anything special about the... So the Three of Pentacles. And that's very interesting because I am looking at this reading from like a strictly romantic point of view. And when we see the Three of Pentacles, that's a card of working together, of compatibility, of building a foundation, but from a logical standpoint. So this person could be focused on their finances and their material world. And so they may not have felt that they had room for something romantic. This could also mean that they would have found it difficult to make room for you in their life. Or this could also indicate that they didn't want to take the lead. They wanted it to be oh God, I always forget what this word is. It starts with a C, I think. Basically, they wanted it to be a cooperative effort. What's with this Five of Wands in reverse? The Queen of Wands in reverse. Okay. I could look at it as either of two ways, because it might depend on who this Queen of Wands... Oh no, sorry, it's the Page of Wands in reverse. Okay. I do think that this represents a lack of confidence. A lack of confidence about what they could offer. Because the wand suit is about creativity, passion, love, action, and especially if they're focusing on like their finances or their material realm, they may not have the energy to express any of those traits. You know, they may not have the energy to be somebody who expresses like passion towards you. They may not have the energy to be somebody who can romance you or be charismatic. And it once again could be that there's somebody who might be more practical right now and focusing on the foundation of their life. What is it that they feel they can't change? Like, what do they think would need changed in their environment? The Knight of Cups. Oh. The Knight of Cups is somebody who has the mental capacity to emotionally express themselves. Someone who can be romantic, someone who can be attentive. This is also the person who is going to be able to go out for drinks with you. Someone who is going to be able to go out to eat with you or have, movie nights with you. Somebody who can take that focus and put it on you. So why the Star in reverse. It does seem like maybe they're going through a very difficult situation in their life, because the Star comes after the Tower. And so this person may have just gone through something very extreme and life-altering, and maybe that's depleted them of their resources, both physical and emotional, to be able to really put forth an effort into something like this. So this doesn't... It's very clear on this side that you were very interested in pursuing something more with this person, whether it was momentarily or long term. The focus here isn't so much on this person's mind about if they're interested. It's more like, don't even bother thinking about it because there's no way it could happen. Which indicates to me that there is an interest, or that there was an interest by this person in you, and in whether interacting with you, if they saw you and they didn't interact with you, interacting with you more, if the two of you did have some sort of communication, or like moving things forward, like whether it be like going out on a date or exchanging phone numbers or getting back together. But something is going on so much so in their life that at this point it doesn't even feel like it was a possibility to them. So we're going to see, why was it a missed connection? And I mean, we could end up talking about like, hey, it was a misconnection because neither one of you made a move, or hey, it was a misconnection because this person was in a really negative mind frame. But we could also end up learning about like, it was a misconnection because this person's lifestyle doesn't align with your needs, or something more. I mean, it kind of seems like a redundant question with what we found out given these responses, but I still want to see if there's anything new we could learn. So why was this connection missed? The Ace of Cups in reverse with the Hanged Man in reverse. And what that indicates to me is that it was missed because the shot wasn't even taken by either one of you, and that there was the inability to look at the situation from a different perspective. And we can see that obviously with this person. Wow, like, hey, even though you might be going through a rough time, like, it's still okay to reconnect with Pile 2, or exchange information and stay in touch, or go out, for a night. Like, even if you don't feel that it can go somewhere big right now, like, that doesn't mean you have to sacrifice the small parts of the connection either. But I think we could also attribute it to this side of the reading as well, pile number 2. That it can be scary to really put ourselves out there, worried like, hey, I don't want to come on too strong, or what if I'm getting the wrong impression? What if I'm misreading signals? But if you don't put yourself out there, then you don't really know, and nobody's a mind reader. Like, we can think that we're giving this person all the signs in the world, but the reality is they may not be picking up on those signals, or it may not be a strong enough indication for them to feel comfortable actually pursuing it, and even so, like, you don't necessarily have to come on super strong. You could just say like, hey, I'd like to keep in touch, do you want to exchange social media, or should we exchange phone numbers, or hey, would you like to go out for coffee, or something small, or even if it's just like, hey, like, not gonna lie, I think you're pretty cute. I know that's intimidating to be vulnerable and open with that kind of stuff sometimes, but we can't always rely on lady luck, like, we can't always expect to get what we want and what we deserve just by leaving it to chance. So we're going to see, like, what is the most likely outcome. Oh, the Six of Cups. What is the most likely outcome? What's the most likely outcome for group 2 and this person? The King of Cups in reverse. And the Ace of Swords. Well, that is really interesting, because that can kind of change things a little bit. What's this Ace of Swords about? The Four of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, this King of Cups in reverse. Oh my gosh, that's way too many. The Nine of Pentacles in reverse. And then the Sun in reverse for the Six of Cups. Do I want to get... I kind of feel like I want one more row. The Nine of Cups. Okay. With the Chariot and the Empress. So this is why I do feel it's really important to do more than one card, because they all can take you to different parts of a story. I do think with the Six of Cups here that this is going to be a person or a situation that you reflect a lot upon over the years, and likely them too. There's going to be this sense of longing and this sense of nostalgia and appreciation, you know, for what this situation was and who this person was. But there's always going to be like that Sun in reverse scenario where it's kind of like a double-edged sword, you know. Whatever moments you share with that person or whatever was important to you about that situation is always going to be there in your mind as something that you value, but there's also going to be just kind of like this little tinge of sadness. And you can reverse that too, you know, like there's going to be this tinge of sadness when you reflect upon this situation or this person, but you're going to be able to also pull from it what part of the experience you really appreciated. The King of Cups in reverse with the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. That signifies to me, and I really think it's going to relate to your person, or at the very least, you know, the perspective of the individual that was on this side, that they aren't able to come forward with any sort of love offer because they're not in a position where they are secure with themselves, very likely monetarily. You know, they might have debts, they may be homeless, they could maybe be living paycheck to paycheck, they may be in a job that they don't feel proud of, you know, because at the end of the day, a job is a job, you know. But sometimes people look at jobs as like status symbols. So for instance, I worked for a couple who had children, and one of like their oldest child had made a joke about one of my at the time boyfriend's friends and was like, well, I'm not going to be, you know, on the back of a garbage truck because at the time, like, my boyfriend's friend was a sanitation worker. And that just really upset me because I looked at them and I was like, well, what does it matter if he's a garbage man? Like, it's still a job. First of all, it pays really well. Second of all, what would you do if we didn't have sanitation workers? What would you do with your garbage? Where would you put it? Like, how would you be responsible for it? You know, so even though, like, we look at sanitation work, and there can be this negative stipulation about, like, oh, it's dirty and it's gross and, like, you're not educated. And, like, it's a really important job and it does pay pretty damn well. So this person might have a career where maybe they don't feel too proud of it and they're just like, oh, like, you know, I'll wait until I get into a better position. Whatever it is, it could be something that, like, really is a currently like a hindrance to them, like maybe not having their own place or maybe living paycheck to paycheck, or it could be something that is misperceived as a hindrance to them. You know, like, oh man, I just work at the gas station, like this person isn't really gonna be interested in me. Who cares? You know, like, there's a guy that I saw for a while. He had a really good job. He worked in like financing and he also ran a nonprofit organization. And I would have liked him whether he did that or whether he was a gas station attendant, like, because it was about the person, you know. But there's something about their material stability or their perception of their material stability that is preventing them from moving forward. And so there's going to be this realization that comes forth that the both of you just kind of need to let this go. Like, surrender it, you know, and accept it for what it was, but don't hold on so tightly to where it's like, you know, this person's going to come back or we're going to have another shot at this. And at the end of the day, though, even though that's sad to hear, I do really love this 9 of Cups card paired with the Chariot and the Empress. You know, we've got the Lady Goddess here with the Empress. I think that is so beautiful. That's all about, like, nurturing yourself, taking the path that you want in life and moving forward in a direction that makes you happy. So you will find success, you know. And if you're looking to particularly get married or have a long-term committed relationship, I do see that here. Also, if you're somebody who wants children, whether if it's through traditional means or through adoption or, you know, blended family or whatever like that, that's definitely in the cards for you. Group number 2, it does seem that the situation with this person is not going to make any further progress, but just rest assured that they did see something special in you, and they had a spark for you, and that I do genuinely think that both of you will remember each other fondly. So we are going to get some charms, see what may come out with these. Oh, this is quite a few more than and we have lots of animals. So we have a bear that could talk about an older man, maybe like an older hairy man or an older gay man. You know, it could be, well, I guess, okay. I don't know that in the gay community, I don't know that bears have to necessarily be older. They just might be thicker and like hairier. When I think of bears, though, I do also think of a mother protecting her cubs, or a very powerful animal that can traverse a large distance and still maintain safety. This could also represent coming out of a period of hibernation. We have dolphins here, which, I'm not going to lie, dolphins are not as cute and innocent as we'd like to pretend they are, okay? They can be evil little bastards. But dolphins oftentimes represent playfulness and friendship. And I do think that this connection, whether it was a momentary connection or a longer connection, I do think that that is very representative of what the two of you shared. I kind of get just like these playful energies, like I don't know how to describe it. You know, it's like maybe the two of you have met across different lives, and it was just kind of like this moment where you got to meet again. And so there was like this recognition on a soul level of each other, where it was just like, hey, it's really good to see you. You know, this could also just mean like traveling, especially across ocean or being in a tropical area. And we have the stingray here, the manta ray, another aquatic life. And I don't actually know what the meaning of this guy is. I do feel that, like, I would definitely research it. I know I'm going to after this video. But these things just make me, I don't know, I love them. They're so cute. They make me happy. And then we have the dove here, which has always in my mind represented peace. This could also represent Christmas time, Easter, or I'm thinking of, like, for some reason, like Slavic countries. Then we have a flower here, a daisy, and daisies are about like innocence and creativity, about springtime, so maybe something in here has been renewed. And then we also do have this heart, but it's like a message format, you know, like it's got like a little speech bubble with it. So this could be encouraging you to, in the future, express yourself when you are interested in somebody or want to get to know somebody better or reconnect. This could also mean that, especially if the two of you do know each other, you may hear from them. Otherwise, like, this could be looking at each other's social medias. It makes me think of like Instagram or Facebook, you know, and just kind of admiring from afar, but still maintaining your presence there. So group number 2, I hope that this reading was useful for you. If it resonated, let me know how in the comment section down below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, we would love to have you as a part of our family. Just hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll find out whenever I upload a new video. Also, if you're interested in a personal reading, I can offer you one. Yeah. My contact information is just in the description box down below. Bye. Hello, group number 3. You chose the card Hearth with Homecoming. So this is going to be a reading all about this missed connection. So we're going to put that over here. And these cards are going to represent the energy of the situation. We also have card number 8 with Procrastination. Mercutio with Humorous, Loyal, Devoted, Wild, and Frenetic. Last quarter moon in Scorpio, Reveal what needs to be seen. And then 25 Uranus change in reverse. So, to be honest, this feels, if this is a connection where there was a plan to meet up, whether like, so for instance, maybe you guys swiped right on a dating app, and there was a plan to get together, or maybe this is somebody that you've been with before or at least know and made plans. I do feel that those plans were kind of canceled. Otherwise, there could have been an intention to approach this person or for them to approach you, and that just wasn't taken. It's funny because we have Hearth with Homecoming. So Hearth is, it's all about feeling cozy and comfortable and safe, you know, and it can talk about retreating into what, retreating back home, I guess, getting away from the busyness of life. We have Procrastination, which honestly to me looks a little bit like the Hermit card, where we have like the lamp right here. We have some eyeballs just kind of like checking out right there as well. And, you know, I'm noticing this clock right here with this black cat underneath. Now, I know black cats get a shit rap, okay? And I love black cats. But, of course, in pop culture, when we think of black cats, we think of bad luck. And so with the black cat being underneath the clock, that makes me feel like this fear of like, oh, it's not the right time. Like this wouldn't be a good thing to do. Something could go horribly wrong. And then we have Uranus over here with change, but it's in reverse, you know? So, and plus Scorpio is all about change. So this really feels like it's an energy that is resistant to movement. It's about retreating back into yourself, kind of hiding from it. And there could be a lot of different reasons, you know. It could be that this is a situation that is new and unfamiliar to you. Like, for instance, if you've never met this person and, you're not used to, like, dating. When I first got into, like, doing the dating thing, I was in my... my mid-30s, like, I'm still in my mid-30s. Well, I guess it was, like, my early 30s. And it was, very intimidating. It's like, I gotta go meet this person that I've never met. I have social anxiety. I don't like this. But the more that I've done it, the easier, honestly, it's gotten. Not to say that I don't still feel apprehensive from time to time, but I'm much more at ease. But of course, to this, with this Mercutio card here, so Mercutio is a character in Romeo and Juliet. He is Romeo's best friend, and when he dies, he's like, a plague on both your houses! I wasn't a big fan of the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, Romeo plus Juliet, but I loved the dude who played Mercutio, and the guy who played Tybalt. He's pretty dope. Mercutio was so extra in that movie, though, and I loved it. And he's also, I don't know his name. I should know it, because I recently got obsessed with this show called From, and the guy who is one of the main characters on that show was also one of the main characters on Lost, which I never watched, but I don't know. So I'm sure out of one of those three, y'all probably know who I'm talking about. But it says humorous, loyal, devoted, wild, and frenetic. And so if we're just looking at that description of Mercutio, that gives the feeling that this moment of the connection was maybe not taken seriously. I mean, we have humorous. Maybe loyalties were like to ourselves, or the hearth does talk about family, so maybe there was like a family interference in there. Wild and frenetic, though, also makes me think of, being unpredictable. And 1 minute making a plan, the next minute going like, you know what, never mind, let's not do that. But then we delve further into this. It's Act 1, Scene 4, and it says, if love be rough with you, be rough with love. Prick love for pricking, and you beat love down. I can't remember the exact context of this particular scene. It's probably advice he's giving to Romeo. But it kind of makes me think of like a tit for tat, Treat others the way that you would want to be treated, or like treat others the way they have treated you. And so if this is a connection where maybe the other person didn't take you very seriously, or they took you for granted, then this could be the energy of like, you know what, screw them. Like, I'm not doing this. Like, they didn't show me effort, then I'm not going to show them effort. Now, with the last quarter moon in Scorpio, last quarter moons are about like assessing kind of the damage that's been done, or like what still needs improvement, or things you need to clean out before the new moon. And so it's kind of like taking stock and inventory and getting shit ready before the final end. And reveal what needs to be seen can talk about maybe like sometimes experiencing anxiety, not wanting to show your full hand. And so this could be an act that's done out of like apprehension, you know, kind of like keeping your cards hidden, not revealing everything that you're thinking or doing. It could also represent, however, being more strategic about it. So it could be, you know what, I'm not going to tell this person everything that's on my mind. Like, maybe this person was like, hey, you want to go out tonight? And, you know, I'm just going to leave them on red for a little bit. And that could be an energy that you're giving or they're giving, because of the dynamic of the connection. Maybe there has been like neglect or taking for granted, or else it could just feel like, you know, sometimes, especially Scorpios, like they like to be mysterious. You know, some people feel that if everything is already laid out on the table, then the mystique is gone, you know. Some people can lose interest if everything's laid out on the table right away, or sometimes people just don't want to show their whole intentions from the get-go. I'll tell you this, like, I'm not good at being mysterious. Like, I'm gonna lay it all out right there. And I'm not the type of person who wants to play games. You know, like, I want to be authentic. I want to be out there on the table. And sometimes people give me shit for that because they're like, oh my God, Amber, guys don't like that. Men want you to be a little mysterious. They want you to, like, be a little hard to get. And I'm like, bro, that's too fucking exhausting. If that's what someone wants from me, then they're not the right person for me. You know, but there are others who, like, that's the kind of dynamic that they enjoy. So I'm getting several different scenarios here where some people, it seems, you know, just kind of pull back because they were nervous. Some might pull back or not reveal everything because they're being a little spiteful. Some, maybe it's just because, you know, they like the thrill of the chase, or they like to be a little mysterious. And so for a large portion of you, I do feel, because the other two piles, I feel like there was a physical meeting there. With this pile, I kind of feel like maybe there wasn't. And if there was a meeting, like, it was very minimal interaction. So we're going to get into tarot now and look at what your perspective of the situation is and what their perspective is. And I mean, this can be flip-flopped, you know. I mean, we're doing a general reading, and, you know, I do also want to encourage you. I want to encourage everybody all the time. Like, if you see, like, you see these cards too, right? You hear me call them out like they're fucking bingo. And if you get a different impression about what the meaning is behind it, like, take it, you know? Like, you are just as capable at doing this as I am, and sometimes we can be drawn to a message and have a different view of it than what was originally intended, and that can still be just as valid, you know? So, what is or was Group 3's perspective? The 8 of Wands in reverse. I can see either it's going too slow, or it was, you know what, we're not taking things off right yet, or I'm not going to pursue this. Can you tell us more about what pile 3's perspective is? The Page of Cups. Okay. What was pile 3's perspective? The 8 of Swords in reverse. Well, this is very interesting. And now the 8 of Swords would talk about, like, I'm not going to get hung up on this, you know? Like, I'm not going to let this be a big deal. And for those of you who may have been experiencing, like, anxiety or concerns, this could be, like, this decision to just remove yourself from that. To make the decision to, like, okay, I'm going to get out of my head. For a lot of you, it doesn't seem like you're bothered by it, though. You're just kind of like, eh. Like, it's kind of like a cat playing with a mouse. We'll see. What's this Page of Cups about? Because that's what's kind of throwing me off. But I will say this. You know, the Page of Cups is somebody who can be a little flirtatious without maybe being too serious. You know, like they're dipping their toes in the water. They're getting to know someone, or they're getting to know, like, what the situation is like. Or maybe they're just flirting for the sake of flirting. Ooh, the Ace of Swords in reverse. So that can either talk about deception, or it can talk about just not revealing the whole truth. This is some kind of sneaky energy. But, like, I don't get that it's a bad sneaky energy. What's this 8 of Swords in reverse? I'm not taking all those. Can you give me something a little bit smaller? What's this 8 of Swords in reverse? Wow. He's like, nope. And Judgment in reverse. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And the 4 of Cups upright. So it's interesting that we have the Page of Cups, which is this energy of, like, offering something to someone, but then we have the 4 of Cups, which is like withholding it. So it's a little bit of that back and forth energy pile, number 3. So we have Judgment in reverse with the Wheel of Fortune in reverse and the 4 of Cups. So honestly, the energy that I'm getting from this is that this is not a connection that you take too seriously. I don't think that you necessarily have any long-term interest in this connection. I don't think that you necessarily are trying to project into the future what could happen. I think it's more of kind of like a, enjoy the moment for what it is. Have fun, let loose a little bit, don't get too serious. Maybe you're someone who isn't interested in commitment right now. Maybe you're somebody, you know, you could be somebody who is young and is like, you know what, I just got out into the real world. I just want to have fun. Or, you know, somebody who maybe did get out of a long-term relationship and is like, I want to rediscover who I am. Or maybe this other person is like a fuck boy, fuck girl. And you're just like, nah, I'm not going to get bent over, you know, all bent over, out of shape over this person. Like, it is what it is. Because with this 8 of Swords in reverse, you know, that's like getting out of this imprisoned form of thought. And when we have the Judgment in reverse and the Wheel of, like, all of these are kind of like, they're kind of, I don't know how you would say it, like bad luck cards, you know. You could look at Judgment in reverse as being like, well, what if I made the wrong decision? Or what if I misjudged someone? The Wheel of Fortune in reverse could be like, what if my luck has run out, you know? And then the Four of Cups is somebody who's just like, I don't even want to look at what someone else has to offer me. I'm going to focus on what I have right here. And so maybe these are things that you have experienced in the past, or maybe this could be reminiscent of some of the energy that we talked about with the oracle cards, where some of you might be feeling anxious and worried. But there's just this energy of, you know, you not really taking things too seriously, not getting too invested into it. Maybe being a little flirtatious and playful, but otherwise not really making a commitment about this, and not allowing yourself to get in your feelings about it. So let's check and see what the other person's perspective is. The Seven of Wands in reverse. What's the other person's perspective? The Seven of Cups in reverse. And the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, first of all, I'm going to say this reminds me of Sedusa from the Powerpuff Girls. I kind of get the feeling that they're not taking it seriously either. We've got the Seven of Wands in reverse, which can talk about putting down your defenses. You know, you're not going to try to preserve something. You're not going to try to save something because maybe you feel like there's nothing to save or that your efforts would be wasted. The Seven of Cups in reverse can talk about being stuck in fantasy, but it can also talk about feeling as if you don't have any options. And then the Ten of Pentacles in reverse talks about the lack of stability, like there's no foundation. Maybe they don't have a foundation, or maybe they don't see a foundation with you. I want to see what that Seven of Cups in reverse is about, why they feel like there are no options there. This could also talk about a foundation that they had previously built that came crumbling down. So maybe they've recently gone through a breakup. The King of Swords. I really hate when a card is clarified by a court card, because I do tend to look at court cards as physical, like as representations of people. Why is it the King of Swords energy? Oh, the Six of Cups in reverse with the Sun. So I feel that this person may be kind of stuck on a past situation. And the Six of Cups can talk about not being able to move on from something in the past. And then we have the Sun here. So it's almost like this person is, you know, there's no point in moving this forward, because there's only one possibility I see in my mind for like happiness, and this person might be stuck on somebody else. So what's this Ten of Pentacles in reverse? The Ace of Pentacles in reverse with the Page of Pentacles in reverse. I think this person is very stuck either on another person or on a specific ideal, like in a very kind of almost in an unhealthy way, I would say, because it looks like they're not even willing to make, and I would say this probably isn't just to you, but it doesn't look like they're willing to make any kind of offer or investment unless it mimics something from the past, or is that person from the past. They may have a very specific person or a very specific type of partner that they are focused on. And I mean, it's it's good to have expectations and boundaries, you know, or like have an understanding of who you want, what you want, but this person seems like they're totally fixated and inflexible. Yeah, like we got the devil right there. With the 10 of Wands. And so I feel that there's no amount of compromise that this person is willing to offer unless it meets a very specific expectation. So why was it missed? I mean, I feel like that probably kind of answers it in part, but is there any further information that we can garner about why it was missed? And the 6 of Pentacles. Why was it missed? Do you have a dog bone? Temperance. And the Queen of Cups. I do feel that for some of you, it may just be that if there's like, you know, this last opportunity that was missed, someone could have been just involved in doing something else. You know, maybe they were working, maybe they were hanging out with friends, but their time was already engaged. This could also indicate, though, that attention was being put elsewhere, because you see like this, the 6 of Pentacles is supposed to be a card of reciprocity, but this woman has this huge ass bone and she's only giving it to like this dog right here. And then this other dog is just feeling kind of sad. So it could be that there was like a third party situation, which maybe you were entertaining somebody else, or maybe they were entertaining somebody else. And that could mean physically, or just through communication, or even just mentally, you know? Like one of you was thinking about somebody else and was like, ugh. Temperance, which makes me think back a little bit to this 8 of Wands in reverse, because 8 of Wands upright is like excessive energy, you know? It's coming in hot, coming in strong, but in reverse, it one of the meanings behind it can indicate, you know, taking more time to think through before taking action. Okay, yep, we got the Ace of Wands in reverse, which I do feel is really representative of what I was talking about. One or both parties just kind of like, I don't know if I want to talk to this person, or I have to really think about if I want this person to come over. And the Queen of Cups upright. What's with the Queen of Cups upright? The King of Pentacles. Okay. So, I feel like the Queen of Cups here was kind of withholding herself And I feel that whether you're female or or male or non-binary or whatever, this Queen of Cups, it can talk more about you, especially since we have the Four of Cups here, and the Page of Cups right there. And then the King of Pentacles, I feel, is like you maybe want somebody who has more stability or is more reliable, is more dependable, because the King of Pentacles, like, he's going to have his shit together financially, but he's also going to be like a really dependable person. He may not be somebody who's always emotional and romantic, but he's not going to leave you on red. You know, he's not going to leave you guessing as to what he's ready for and what he's not ready for. He's the type of person who is going to communicate effectively with you and be reasonable, and somebody who is going to make like his needs and his desires and his offers known. And with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse here, I feel that indicates that this person definitely is not that King of Pentacles. You know, so I feel that the opportunity was missed because whatever was being offered to you wasn't satisfying. And you're just like, nah, I'll wait. So the most likely outcome of this connection . The Magician. The Five of Swords. Hey! In reverse. And the Fool in reverse. I want to see what this Magician is about then. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. We've got the Two of Wands in reverse, the World in reverse, marked by the Chariot upright. So what that leads me to believe is that this is not going anywhere. And so you and this person, I think, are both just going to independently move into different situations, whether that involves other people or not. But especially you, like, you're looking at this and you're going like, this isn't fucking going anywhere. Like, this is a joke, you know? And this doesn't offer me anything that I feel can really complement myself in my life. And so I'm just going to move forward. I don't feel that there's going to be any resistance to it. There's not going to be any sense of combat. You know, I don't think the two of you are going to argue. I don't even know if either of you will communicate to the other that, hey, like, this is not working. There might just end up being no further communication between the two of you. But it's definitely, like, the connection is stuck. Like, it's not going anywhere. And it does not look like there'll be a new beginning, which I think for a lot of you, you're probably like, thank fucking God. And what advice do we have for you today? The Six of Wands. The Page of Swords in reverse with the Knight of Wands. I definitely would say count this as a victory. It might be, for some of you, difficult to do so because it might be like, oh, you know, why is this person not, I don't know, being more honest with me or more genuine with me or making me a priority, or like, why do I always just keep finding these douchebags? You know, you might take it personally, but I think it's really important for you to like look at this rather as a case of like, I dodged a bullet. You know, walking away feeling proud of yourself for knowing what your worth is and not succumbing to being treated as if you are kind of just like a tool or a resource for someone else's gratification. The Page of Swords in reverse, I would say, is probably like just cut off communication. Like, don't bother talking to this person anymore. The Knight of Wands, I'm very curious about. What's this Knight of Wands about? The Devil. So, I know we kind of like use that to represent the other person, but I do feel that this is an indication of don't settle for less. Like, so if you're someone who is older or in a situation where you feel like other people are achieving certain milestones that you haven't achieved yet, feeling like maybe you haven't been able to attract the kind of connection that you want, it may be tempting to just settle for less. But the universe is really encouraging you, don't do that. Stick to your guns. Stick to what it is that you want and that you know you deserve, and don't let any person make you feel like you're asking for too much. So, that being said, we're going to get some charms. We got the bone. Give a dog a bone. This could be about like, I got a bone to pick with you. It could be about, makes me think of like a dog that won't let go of the bone. Which to me just kind of magnifies and reinforces the concept of like, stick to what it is that you really want. You know, don't surrender. This could also just talk about like, treat yourself, you know, bones are treats, except bone, like rawhide. Please do not give your dogs rawhide. We got the bear and the dolphins, which we got for the last pile as well. So for the bear in this instance, I feel that this represents somebody who is strong and capable and will travel the distance in order to make their destination and reach their goal. And then with the dolphins here, I feel that this could represent, you know, making sure that you're being playful, have fun, don't get too serious about it, you know, don't get too much in your head about, you know, where you're at versus where you want to be. And also look for somebody who can be fun with you, you know, somebody that you feel like is a friend, you know, and not just a partner. We have the butterfly, which represents transformation, and I also do look at it as a sign of femininity and also a sign of springtime. And then another sign of spring, in my opinion, is the flower. So spring or summer could be really a sign for you guys. So group number 3, if you found this reading useful, please let me know how it resonated with you in the comments, just the comment section down below. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't joined our family yet, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell. You'll also find out whenever I upload a new video. And if you're interested in a personal reading with me, you can do so by messaging me at guidancethroughgaia@gmail.com. You can find that email in the description box down below. Bye.